It became stable. It's something I think we all know, but have we ever pondered over it? Have we ever sat down and thought about, hey, Islam spread or became stable outside of Mecca, in Africa. Now, I mentioned also some statistics which are not important. I just mentioned them because it's important to them. They love saying, listen, we might have 340 million Muslims in Africa, but we also have 380 million Christians. We might have 400 million Muslims in Africa, but we still have 320 million Christians. We have got to catch up with them. That's important to them. It's not important to us. Because the one says this, the other one says that. So, Islam went to Africa first and stayed there. And then it stabilized actually in Arabia. And this is an important point. From Africa, from East Africa, it went over to North, to West. And from there, it came over to Europe. One route. Tariq bin Ziyad, who came over to Gibraltar, that's his name, Gibraltar, the mountain of Tariq. Okay, and settled in Spain. The Muslims started settling in Spain actually. He was called, that's another important point, he was called by one of the princes who was fighting against his own brother in Spain in order to get the throne. He called Tariq, and the Sultan at that time called him over to help him to get his throne back in Spain. So he didn't come because he was interested in Spain or interested in Europe. That time nobody was interested in Europe. Europe was nothing in the 700s. Nothing. From the other side, the same. When the Ottomans came up to nowadays Turkey, they were not interested in crossing to come over into Europe. Again, the Byzantine prince that time, he called again the Sultan at that time and asked him to come and help him out. Sultan Orhan, who was a son of Sultan Othman, who was not a sultan, sorry. Othman was an emir, he was not a sultan. Othman, the founder of the Ottoman Empire, he was an emir. Now, Orhan, his son, was called to come and help the prince who was fighting against his own brother in the Byzantine Empire. So again, the Muslims were invited to Europe from the west and from the east. Okay? So there was no Muslim invasion as they're teaching our children and teaching us. You know, there was no Muslim invasion. Without the Muslims, history would have been totally different. The Muslims were the ones, and the Ottomans were the ones who kept back the Mongolians from coming into Europe. Otherwise, Europe would have looked totally different. And the third route was the route of the Tartars coming basically from Central Asia again, moving into Eastern Europe, into places like Hungary, into places like Romania, into places like Bulgaria, and Finland. Finland. The Finnish Hungarian people are no Scandinavian people, are no European people. They come originally from Central Asia. Okay? So, as many beauty contests as they would like to have in Finland to show off that they are blonde and blue-eyed people, they are not. Okay? They come from Central Asia. And they are no Scandinavian people. Finnish people are originally from Central Asia. They don't like hearing that? Doesn't matter. It's not important. A fact is a fact. And I mentioned several issues within Europe. If you look into Malta, the Maltese island, very small island, they speak a language there which is actually Arabic. It's an Arabic dialect. And it's the only Arabic dialect in the world which is written in Latin. Okay? They can understand the Moroccans, they can understand the Algerians. They can understand the Libyans, which have many of them there. Alright? And in the end, they speak Arabic. They speak Arabic. It's the only European nation that does that. So, three routes coming into Europe. Islam spread in Africa first before it spread in Arabia. Okay, Africa played an important point. And we should not forget this, just because these people here, because Europeans are famous for wherever they've gone to, they've spread racism. Wherever they have been to, look at South Africa. South African society, you know, apartheid is an invention by the Europeans. Look at South America. South American society is an invention by the Europeans. Racism, the way it is practiced in Brazil and in many other countries there, is an invention by the Europeans. It has to do with being better than others. Exactly as Allah described Shaitan. What did Shaitan say when he was asked to bow down in front of Adam? He said, I'm better than him. SubhanAllah. I'm better than him. What do white people say nowadays? What do Europeans say? Let me not say white because I'm also white. What do Europeans say nowadays? We're better than them. Look, Islam is a black deal. You go to America, you look around and they tell you Islam is a black religion. Islam is a black religion. I don't think I'm very black, it doesn't matter. You know, it doesn't matter to them. They just have to categorize people, you know, to make it easy in their low mind, in their low mindset. Okay? So it's something that doesn't belong to us. If it doesn't belong to Europe, so Christianity doesn't belong to Europe either. Jesus was not a European, or am I wrong? Was he blonde, blue-eyed? Did he come from Paris?
No.
No.
Yes, yeah.
Isa was obviously not European, you know, and I'm very sure that I'm not wrong there. And as far as we know, he was quite dark. So now, if we tell the EDL guys, you're following a black guy, you know, what are they going to say or something like that? They can't say a lot anyway because they must be drunk first of all before they can answer something like that. So, you know, it is, you know, the misconceptions. And, you know, it's crazy. We can go have a whole evening, you know, and I do it often when I go to schools, and it's amazing to see the children's reaction. They're like, huh, what are you saying? Yes, you have never heard that, right? So, well, that's a very brief one, very general.
الآن أسأل أسئلة.
The questions to you now.
أنت أسأل بخليهم يشاركوا ما هي الأسباب التي أدت لانتصار المسلمين وانتشار الإسلام في كل بقاع الأرض في الدول الأوروبية مثلا أو في الدول غير الإسلامية؟